Parashat Lecha. Familiar narratives, but let's try and learn something a little bit different this year. Vayelech lemasa'av. Avraham went on his journeys. Says Rashi, what journeys? After being booted out of Egypt, after the fiasco with Paro and Sarah, Avraham went back to the same inns, the same roadside motels, whatever they were in those days, and went back and stayed in the same places that he'd stayed in on the way down to Egypt. And now that he was very wealthy, now that he was a man of considerable means, he was able to pay his debts. And so the Medrash is teaching us here that Avraham was an ethical person. It's not sufficient to discover God. It's not sufficient to proclaim God's truth, the truth of Hashem, to the whole world, if at the same time you are corrupt in your ethics and morality, you swindle people in business. Those two don't go together. So here is a man who we're seeing is a man of God, in whose merit God punishes powerful kings, and he pays his debts. Perfect relationship with Hashem and perfect relationship with people. Lovely, that could be it. But the rabbis give another perspective. Avraham paid his debts. What debts did he have? And this was a challenge that Avraham and probably every holy person in history has on their own level. You see, Avraham comes to the land, he builds an altar, Vayikra b'shem Hashem, calls out in the name of Hashem, sharing his belief in monotheism with whoever wanted to hear it, and encouraging people to abandon paganism and the way of life that goes with it in favor of the worship of the one true God. But people would have asked questions. His life wasn't simple. He was a man of considerable age, and yet he had no children. There was famine in the land that he was told to go to. His wife gets kidnapped. No doubt he would have been a laughingstock. Where is this invisible God of yours? We can't see your God. There's no image. How can you believe in a God that causes you so many troubles? And perhaps Avraham had to bow his head in silent submission, at least in the early days, without being able to repay those interlocutors with answers, be able to give them something in response. After he leaves Egypt, Vayelech lemasa'av, says the Medrash, he repaid his debts to who? To the people who needed an answer. And now he was able to say, listen, my friends. The God I believe in has no image. There's no statue that can capture what God looks like. You can't hold God, you can't look at God, you can't create God. And the relationship with God is not one that's something like a cash machine. I put in the good deeds and out comes the money and everything is simple. Relationship with God requires faith and commitment and obedience. But there's a process, and life is a journey. Lech Lecha literally is a journey, letovatcha, lahanatcha, for your benefit, for your good. And that requires patience and commitment. And now that I've been kicked out of Egypt, that my wife got released, the Egyptians were punished, Pharaoh was punished, I'm laden with all that I need to be successful in the material, physical world, I can now see the God that I believe in is a God of love, and that the journey takes time, and if things aren't immediate, it will come around eventually. And now equipped with this knowledge and this faith and this commitment, he was able to pay back the people who asked him with answers that would suffice, gathering new converts and greater numbers all the time on his journey to make the world know about Hashem. Shabbat Shalom.